Great. Oh, let's take a deep breath in to start off with, even if you're chewing. Here we go. Breathing in. Ah, that's it. One more because we can. Ah, beautiful. Yeah. So I'd like to welcome you today. My name is Trish Watts and I'm from Australia, presently in Sydney. And Australia is starting off this conference, this International Association for Voice Movement Therapy conference, which is titled Voice as a Lifeline. And you will have the opportunity, as long as you can stay on, to experience people who are passionate about the voice, who really feel called to help others and help themselves come home to the voice in their own being, embodiment, but also to help others find expression. And we'll be going around the world, starting in Australia, New Zealand, and going around, picking up the different countries. For the next 12 hours, we're going around the world. So just know that all of this is going to be recorded. So you can, if you need to head off at any time, you can come back and have a look at the recordings and listen to them. So it's really wonderful you've come on. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself and for each other. Okay. So we're going to, first of all, start off with an acknowledgement on country. And this has become a very important thing for us in Australia. And so whatever land that you're on today, I just invite you to take a moment to allow your breath to drop down and feel your feet on the floor. And take a moment to acknowledge the land and waters that you're on. For me, I'm on Gadigal country, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging of the Eora Nation. Always was, is and will be Indigenous land. And it's into the country that you're on today that we plant our feet, but we also play and sing and move on. This is the landscape we'll be actually exploring in. And it is one of the landscapes that we come home to. My particular topic that I want to explore today in this short amount of time with you is the voice as a lifeline for belonging. For me, having my voice has helped me come home to myself. I grew up on the land, so I've always felt a connection with land, belonging to land. But there's also the land and the landscape of our bodies and the internal landscape of our soul, spirit, and inner workings to come home to. We also have the coming home and belonging to community. So this is a part, us gathering here today is a part of the wee vocal tribe around the world. Yeah, that's in exploration and keeping the flag going for vocal work. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many people show up. The fact is that we show up and we light the spark and we pass it on to others. So part of this belonging is coming home to the parts of ourselves that may have been forgotten or just hidden in the background. Voice movement therapy works a lot with both the top side of consciousness, as the things we know and can see and can feel, and the things that are in the underside, the things that are in shadow, the things that are hidden that maybe we haven't felt comfortable, we put them behind us because it's too hard, the emotional work is too hard to do, or it's hard to find voice for some things. So we pack it back there or down. So having a little bit of time where we can explore through the lens of the voice, just some of these places where our voice feels free, but also where our voice feels compressed or contracted or tight. And often we can feel this not only in the muscles of our body, but in the sound of our voices. Our voices can tell us, oh, this is a bit tight. Yeah. Oh, this is really loose. Everything's very loose in my being. Yeah. So we get a lot of information from the voice and our expression. So let's take some time now. I know some of you are just waking up. It's very early morning for some of you. For the Europeans, it's like 6 a.m., very early. For those in the States, it's very late. So go at your own pace, please. If you want to just sit back and listen to any of this, totally fine. But if you'd like to participate and experience some of this work, then I invite you to do that at your own pace. So one thing I'll invite you to do is just stand up if you're able, and we're just going to loosen our bodies a little bit. Nothing too strenuous, but just to say hello to our bodies, get them moving a little bit. So just go at your own pace here, maybe just moving your shoulders. Having a yawn is good. Oh, let that jaw open. Yeah, the more yawning you can do, the better. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to reach up one arm up here. Really let the side of your body open up. Take a deep breath in. Let go a sigh. Beautiful. And up the other side as you're ready. Let go a sigh. And let's do this together, breathing in. This time I'd like you to use the word luxuriate. Luxuriate in your breath, the fact that we can breathe. So luxuriate in this space. Open your lungs. Gorgeous. And the other side again. And one more time together. Great. Loosen up those shoulders a little bit. This part here, we often call the Bermuda Triangle because the voice can get lost with constriction. So we're just going to just invite everything to loosen, noticing if there's any tightness in your body. Let it go. Oh, very good. And bring that down now to your hips if you're able. Just coming down, circling your hips. And take a big yawn and a sigh out. Oh, that's it. One more of those. Oh, great. Okay. So a lot of this work is to do with our breathing. I'm not going to spend time on the breathing today. Someone else may pick that bit up. But I'm going to work with two components in the voice movement therapy work. We have vocal components and non-vocal components, but these are two of the vocal components. And the first one is pitch, which is our range. And we're just going to start with this with warming up our voice a little bit with the end of the word sing, ng, sing, It's going to just go up and down, warm up the larynx, all these muscles in here. Here we go, take a breath. Again. You might like to use your eyebrows to lift up the high notes. great. And this time we'll stay up and siren. Take a breath. Beautiful. Okay. So you're feeling a bit more here? I hope so. All right, shake everything down. Give that some sound. Beautiful. Okay, so as we were doing this, I'm just wondering, I'm going to sit down for this next bit. You're free to do that as well. Just wondering if you noticed if you had any notes up high and if you had any notes down low. Because this can tell us a little bit about how we're feeling today, whether we're feeling high, whether we're feeling low, whether we're feeling kind of middle. You know, our voice can tell us this. So, you know, high voices, often we think about the high. When do we use our high voice? When it's up here. You know, when do we feel that? When do we use it? It's usually, you know, when we're feeling joyful, when we're feeling playful, when we're just feeling light in life, when we're full of pleasure, when life is uplifting and you just want to be up here. It just feels good to be up here. When we come down, the voice travels down, down lower. And this lower voice has more gravity, more the base of our being, our bedrock, our foundation. It helps ground us. You feel when you come down in your voice, if you just do that with me, go from E into U. When we drop down here, where do you feel it in your body? Just get a sense of where am I feeling that? As I do this, because I'm mainly the one that's talking here, okay, I'm feeling like it's dropping down. I can feel it in my lower back, and where I'm sitting right down into my seat bones. Oh, I'm sitting down in my voice. Oh, yeah. And this lower voice, it often has more authority, can have more authority. It's the place where we feel connected with our tribe. Tribal, it's more tribal, sitting down in the earth, more instinctual. Our sexuality, sitting down in our sexuality. It's also the place where we often hide all our crudeness and our rudeness and yuck. The yuck stuff of life is often down in the mud. So we're going to do this. Let's just do a bit of mud talk here. You're muted. So just in gibberish. Ugly. All the stuff that's wrong in the world. Yeah. Now, if we took that up, now we're going to do it in a more hysterical voice up here. All the things that are wrong in the world. And we just do it in gibberish. It's this kind of, yeah, tremoring. Oh. So you can see why people get quite scared about the high voice, going too high or going too low. There's often a lot of fear around either of these extremes because, you know, they bring out these emotions, these feelings in our body that we might not be able to control. And, you know, as children from, you know, babies have the full range of their little voices, but they full on. And as they grow, they're told you mustn't speak too loud, or, you know, you mustn't be so harsh, or you mustn't scream like that, or don't cry that loud, you know. Everything's softened and we pack everything in. So what we want to do with voice movement therapy is to dare to let the range come back and to say we have every right as human beings to have our full range because we need it. You know, if there's an emergency, you want to know that you can access your high voice and scream out danger. You want to know you've got that. If you're in a situation where you need to calm people down and bring them calm down, you need to be able to access your lower voice for that. Yeah, just to have this access. And it's just more joyful to have more color in your voice. Yeah. So we're going to try using this sort of thing with a song now. And this song, some of you may know, but it's very simple. And I'm using it because it is about the call home, back to ourselves, to this place of belonging as human beings, and to have our fullness. So it goes like this, Spirit of the Wind, it's called, and it's by a woman called Michelle George. It goes like this. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. So, Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. So 3 lines. Sing along with me just where you are. I think we'll just stay muted for the moment. We might come off mute in a moment, but let's just stay muted for now so you can hear me. Here we go. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. Again. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. Add some harmonies. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. Beautiful. So just having this for yourself, we're going to sing it once more with ooh and then with ah. And just notice as you sing this, allowing the breath to move through your whole body, notice where you're feeling it in your body. Just notice. Here we go. Ooh, 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 ah. Ah, 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 and oh. Oh, oh, so just take a moment, have this song for yourself. Notice how you're feeling to be singing. And let your breath be easy. Breathing through the mouth. Take a yawn. Notice how that opens up the voice, opens up the back of the throat. One more. Yeah. Oh, I can see you doing that. It's making me yawn just watching you. That's fabulous. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Oh. So we're going to move now into what we call the vocal tube, exploring the vocal tube. This is a word we use quite a lot in voice movement therapy, where we use the metaphor of a tube that runs in front of the spine. So if you've got your spine, so imagine you've got this vocal tube that's running in front through the mouth. I was just sitting in front of the spine. Now, inside our being, we have all these tubes. You know, we've got the breathing apparatus, we've got the stomach, the tubes into the, you know, the esophagus, we've got the windpipe, we've got all the tubes with the digestion and tubes that eliminate waste from the body. We're full of tubes. And so tubes are not foreign to our bodies. This is a very familiar thing. So if we use this image of the vocal tube is something that is malleable. It can expand, it can lengthen. And so we're going to move now into another vocal component, which is called the timbres. And the timbres uses this lengthening and shortening of the tube and expanding and that word, the opposite to expanding, that one, in and out. Okay, so we were talking about just before I mentioned about when a baby's born, they have these little tiny voices up here, yeah, right? It's because the Adam's apple, the larynx, if you put your finger here, the Adam's apple, doesn't matter whether you're male or female, we all have one. Mightn't be quite as large for some of us. And when it's very high, when that Adam's apple is high, the length of the tube is very short and it's tiny, yeah? When we just relax and let the jaw open a little bit, it just drops down quite a bit. It just lengthens. And then when we yawn, it even lengthens more. Oh, just this movement of the larynx, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into all the anatomy. Someone else on this day will probably do that. But just to give you a bit of an example of how that works, we're going to explore this tube using 3 really simple ways. We're going to use the woodwind orchestra. And Paul Newham, who put this work together in the book, The Healing Voice and the Singing Cure, he put together these different ways of looking at the vocal tube. And the first one is flute, which we're sort of looking at with a little voice and a small embouchure, the flute, where if you're a flute player, you're blowing out a candle like this. So if we were just to do some little sounds, so it's a more contained use of the breath, okay, with flute. Now, if we extend that into the clarinet, we're going to fog up a window. ha, 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 ha. See how different that is to the hoo, 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 ha, 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 hoo, 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 hoo. Quite different to the flute and clarinet. Okay. Then we move down to, we drop it even further. The larynx drops down a bit further with the yawn. As though we're sniffing a flower. Grab a flower and you're going to sniff it through your throat. You're sniffing it through the throat. This opens up the back of the throat. Everything opens up. This is saxophone. Yeah. Okay. So if you listen to the different, I'll try and get a note that stays the same. So you can hear hoo, 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 hoo. Ha, 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 ha. Really weird doing this online. Probably getting to see my tonsils. Anyhow, hopefully you get a little bit of a sense of this. So this is something you can play with, these three different timbres: flute, clarinet, saxophone. And so we're going to apply this now to this song and see what happens, just to play with this. So Spirit of the Wind. Okay, that's the song we're using. Spirit of, let's sing it one more time so we remember it. Oh, we can do it with ooh. Let's just do it with ooh. And we're going to do it in flute. Hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo. Blowing the candle. Hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Beautiful. Now let's see if we can fog up the window, which is accessing more of the chest. Breathe through your underarms. Take a breath in under your armpits. Ha, 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 ha. Let your arms open. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, ha, ha. Beautiful. I can see you doing that. That's beautiful. Now let's drop it open. Now don't worry if you can't get the sound with this. This took me a while to get saxophone. You know, these might be new things for you, so don't worry. We're just touching them today, okay? Just tasting them. So to get into it, I find the best way, the easiest way is to yawn. And you might like to just give your belly a bit of a wake up, because we start accessing the belly. Yeah. But don't worry too much about that. If it's not there, it's not there. If it is, let it be there. So you're going to take a breath into your belly and yawn. Don't worry about the pitch. Yeah, it's much more like you're drunk or you're half asleep. It's not as articulate, right? The saxophone, because it's dropping right down into that instinctual voice, that lower voice. Yeah. Now, I'm kind of interested to how you're going with this. So how about you unmute? I'm going to take myself off spotlight for the moment because I like to see faces. And just any noticing about your voice, accessing your high voice, your low voice, your pitch range, just this flute, clarinet, saxophone, anything at all you'd like to share, especially those that this might be new for you. Just love to hear a little bit from you. Janet.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, thank you.
I just love the idea of placing the voice rather than just jumping in the deep end and not knowing where it sits. So that gave me confidence to give it more volume when I had a place for it. Either
Oh, I
here,
love that.
yeah.
Yes, placing it or locating the voice.
Locating,
Where
yeah.
to locate. Yeah, really important. Thank you. That's great. Anybody else?
Yeah, thanks, Trish. This is Tanya, so this is Claire, just so that you know.
Thank you, Tanya and Claire. Hi.
Yeah, we were just commenting on how interesting it is when you change that notion of which instrument you're using or you're accessing. You're singing the same note in pitch, and yet it almost sounds like you're dropping an octave. So that's
Doesn't it?
it's something that I hadn't actually brought to my attention before. But thanks for, highlighting that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think when we do this too, we are accessing more, like when we drop down, there's more around, it's a fuller, rounder resonance. There's more coming through the tube. So of course it's going to sound richer, or it's got more wholeness in it. When it's just when it's a flute, whoo, whoo, it's just, it's a different quality to explore. Thank you, Tanya. Anybody else, or maybe one of our practitioners who's on, who might have something I want to share? Anne, are you mute?
I'll just say how nice it is to find that I can sing it all after COVID. And it's actually, I'm coughing a lot, but it's really helping, going from the highs to the lows and going through the timbres to open up what has been really constricted and tight. So thank you for that.
Yes. Isn't it a relief just to know we can sing?
Yes, actually.
You know,
yeah,
that's right. Just remember,
it was like the voice from the crypt.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's great. I love that. Love that. Just warming up. This first session, we are kind of warming up a bit here before we get into the next session, which will be even more. So one of the things that I do want to mention is, it's one of the things actually I learned in my training quite a while back now, but it was a phrase or a concept that I just adore. And it's a bit like voice movement therapy is a bit like archaeology, going on an archaeological dig, where we can explore the open cut mine on the topsoil. We can see a lot of what's going on there because the sun's out, we can see it. But when we go underground and we start digging for what's the gems that are underneath, that are sitting in our unconscious, that are flowing down in the deep river, we need a really fine light, could be a candle light, to go into the dark. We don't go in with huge neon lights and hold it up. John O'Donoghue, the great Celtic poet, speaks about this. We don't go after the soul into the dark with neon lights, hospital lights. It's too exposing. We terrify ourselves. Now, this work is it's very intimate. It's very go at the pace of the body, and trusting that each body knows how far they want to go each time, tracking themselves, tracking yourself. And when we go in as a practitioner, we go with the client to see, now what gem is in this part of the voice today? I hear this quality in the voice. I hear this part of your voice up high here. What's that? Or down low. Or maybe there's no voice today. Maybe, you go so far and then it stops. It's a real sign that something's numb or frozen, or just may need a little bit of candlelight to melt it a bit. You know, that gaze, that's a loving gaze, and soft voicing until you find what's there. So I love this concept of being like an archaeological dig. You know, we go and search for the gold, and we all have the gold in the dark. Yeah, there's always parts of ourselves that we will never know. And that's pretty cool, I reckon, you know, that we're always surprising ourselves with who we are and surprising each other. Yeah. Does that resonate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm just wondering if you would like, I would like you just to meet with another couple of people and just to share a little bit about your experience today of doing the high voice. We're just going to do one more round of going into the flute, clarinet, saxophone, so you can get back into it again. And I particularly want you to think about, is there any part of my voice that feels weaker or absent? Is there a part that's shaky or croaky? Just notice anywhere. And if you're able, you may be even located in your body where you feel it. If not, you may be able to just talk about that bit. Oh, I got to this part of my voice and it just started to shake, or, you know, when I was up high, it just disappeared. I'm just curious to see, I want you to think about that you are you've got your miner's light, and you're just going to start exploring your voice. But we're going to use the lens of the timbres, flute, clarinet, and saxophone, in whatever order you want to do them in. Okay, you can follow me if you like, or for those of you that are more experienced, just go for it and just see, oh, what is going on today in my voice? Okay, so here we go. You might, you can mute if you wish. You don't have to though, because we sort of, if you would like to just let your voice come out, I'm fine with that. And it's nice to hear each other. Okay, so here we go. If you want to stand up, stand up. Take a deep breath in first. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, so I've got a few people that are not on camera. If any of you would like to come onto view, feel free to do that if you wish. I'm just wondering if anybody would like to speak about that. Seeing we're a smaller group, we can either put you in little rooms, but it will have to finish shortly. So I'm just wondering if anybody would like to share anything that you experienced from doing that. Or if anyone's just, yes, thanks, Janet. You're just muted at the moment. Can you unmute? Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Definitely the clarinet and letting the air come in the armpits. It does literally feel like I'm flying, and my voice is almost effortless. But in the oohs and the ahs, I feel there's some restriction. Like it just feels, maybe I'm trying a bit too hard. I need to relax into it a bit more. But I can feel the difference between the clarinet and the other two for sure at the moment.
Thank you. And just to say also that flute can be low. It doesn't have to be high. It could be a bass, but and saxophone can be high. I don't know if I can do it right now. You've got to warm up a bit. Yeah, it can, you can, and yes, you can take it right up. Yeah. So they can, you can, once you get the feel of them, you can move them around and they change quality. They give different qualities to high and low and middle. Yeah. Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Trish,
No.
I love
Yes.
the fluidity, that the way that you bring in the capacity of flow, so that we're talking about different timbres and different sounds, but it's the elasticity of that tube that just the one flows into the other.
Yes.
And it's so freeing to have that idea of being able to float with it, even though we're grounding ourselves. But it's I love that, really. We forget that, we compartmentalize ourselves so much into allowed sounds and allowed correlating with allowed behavior, and it's beautiful to know that the voice just the split of the semitones of the notes, that actually we've got quarter tones and half quarter tones, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great. Well, let's come back. We're going to sing again, Spirit of the Wind, and we're going to finish up. I'd like to give you a little blessing about belonging. And as I say, these workshops today, sessions are, they're little windows into this work. They're tasters. So you'll be hearing a lot more about different parts of the work. So let's come back to the song now. And you might like to mute again because we're all out of time, unfortunately. Maybe next year we might have a system where everything's working in sync and we can sing in harmony with each other. But for now, feel free to add your own harmonies. Have this for yourself as your own intention. Bring in your intention for today, for this conference. What is it that you hope to find and what you're desiring for with your own life and your own voice, and to give voice to, and we'll put it in this song, and may it come home to you. Okay, so here we go. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. Beautiful. And I'd like to share a blessing from the Book of Blessings from John O'Donoghue. May you listen to your longing to be free. May the frames of your belonging be generous enough for your dreams. May you arise each day with a voice of blessing, whispering in your heart. May you find a harmony between your soul and your life. May the sanctuary of your soul never become haunted. May you know the eternal longing that lives at the heart of time. May there be kindness in your gaze when you look within. May you never place walls between light and yourself. And may you allow the wild beauty of the invisible world to gather you, mind you, and embrace you in belonging.
Wow.
So may it be. Thank you so much for coming on, and
Beautiful. Thank you.
let yourself have that. Great to see you, Christine.